Hey guys, I've recently had a birthday and I forgot that it was my birthday. That's how old I am. I forgot. And I woke up and I was just kind of laying there trying to wake up for the day, and my husband looks at me and he says, "Hey, happy birthday." And I was like, "Oh, thank you. That's awesome." And I thought for a second, I was like, "How old am I?" And he said, "Halfway to 90, baby." And I thought, that's awesome. But I just thought, I am halfway to 90. Here I am. I have arrived at that point. And I have put a little bit of thought into this and wondered, what is it that I know now that I didn't know before? What can I do now that I couldn't do before? And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that we are really not tapping into the potential and the value that a lot of our older women have. Now, I'm not saying that I'm an older woman yet. I'm just older than a lot of people. And so this is what I've really thought on this subject. At this point in my life, I can deal with other people's challenges much better than I could when I was younger. As a teenager, I had a friend who had been assaulted, and she came to me and she told me, and I did not have the ability to deal with that. I couldn't even deal with the fact of the case, that I thought, maybe that's not true. Maybe it didn't actually happen. Maybe she misunderstood. I couldn't even absorb the truth of what happened, much less have the ability to help her carry the load that was on her. And that wasn't because I was a bad friend or a bad person. I was just young. I just didn't have the wherewithal to be able to deal with that kind of weight that was put on me. And that is something that older women are really good at, that you can tell people who are, a decade or however beyond you, you can say, "Oh my gosh, I'm really struggling with this whatever that is so big in your life right then. In my life, I can pass this on to the older women." And they just have a perspective that they're able to say, you're gonna make it. That's okay. I dealt with that too. It's okay. In fact, I remember standing up and talking to this large group of women, and I had just had a baby, and I was having postpartum, at least baby blues, maybe even depression. I was really struggling, and I was just saying, this is so hard. I'm not sure I can do this. And I remember the lady behind me, she put her hand on my shoulder and she said, "You're gonna be okay. Do you know how I know?" She had a baby die, she had a child, and that child died. And she said, and it was so hard to live through. It was a really challenging thing. Of course it was. But she made it through, and she said, "I know you're going to be okay because I made it through that." It was so shocking to me that I thought, that's huge and that's scary, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. But her stability that came from having gone through that really hard thing was really powerful to me, that I later, a week or two later, when I was struggling again, I thought, but I'm going to be okay, because she made it through this really, really hard thing, and I can make it through this. And that perspective really helped me. And that's something that you get as you get older. And it's something that helps, having somebody older in your life that you can go to them and say, struggling with postpartum, whatever, really having a hard time with toddlers, really not knowing what to do with, teenagers, don't know how to handle this. And talk to somebody who's already gone through it. Their experience is so super powerful to be able to say, you'll make it. Even if that's all they say. It's just, if they don't have like a list of 10 things that they did that got them through this problem, no problem. It still helps to know that they face something at least as hard. I mean, that lady, she faced something way harder than postpartum depression. And she was able to give me that strength and say, you can make it. I made it. We can make it. We can do this together. So that, I think, is something that is so powerful in having older people in our life, people who are more experienced than us, to say, you can do this. I have a perspective that has a lot more hope because I've made it this far. You can make it that far too. The other thing that I sort of touched on is that we're better able to not hold other people's heaviness, other people's emotional weight. As I get older, I'm better able to say, I'm just not going to hold that. I just sort of pass it on and not try to hold that. I had a guy stop me at a grocery store, and he only had one leg. And he stopped me and he started telling me this story about how a doctor really, really messed him up and ended up, through his negligence, amputating his leg. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know how to handle this. This is really heavy. But then, I just kind of thought, I'm going to be here for this guy right now and just let him know that that's really hard, and I'm really sorry that happened to him. And I hope he has, I think it was around Thanksgiving time, and that's why we were at the grocery store, and I was just like, I hope you have a great holiday or whatever. And I was better able to do that at this age than I ever was as a 20-something. Because if somebody told me that at 20, I would feel like I have to hold on to that. I have to carry not only the knowledge of what happened to you, but all of the emotional weight as if it happened to me. And as I've gotten older, I just realized I don't have to do that part. I can just hot potato that sucker, you know, all that heaviness, all of that weight and hardship that you're going through, I can see it and say, that is hard. I can validate that difficulty without trying to carry it for you. I can just set it aside and say, I don't have to carry your hardship. I don't have to carry your emotional weight. I can acknowledge that it's hard for you without having to do it for myself. And this is really powerful, because not only is it easier for me, as you know, now I don't have to carry other people's hardships. That's easier for me. But I think it's also easier for younger people. Like, it's easier for me to pass things on to the elderly, because I can talk to them and I don't feel like they're going to go home and say, oh my goodness, her life is so hard. She's got things that are so hard. I'm just so stressed out for her. I feel like they're going to hot potato it. They're not going to hold on to my emotional things. And so I don't feel guilty about sharing it with them. I can just tell them and know that they're going to be able to say, wow, that's really hard. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to move on and do other things with my life. And so I feel more capable, more able to give that to other people, especially older women, because I don't feel like it will crush them. I feel like they're going to be able to handle that because they've just learned to not hold on to that emotional stress. So what a gift. And it's not something that I really thought about. And until I'm halfway to 90, now I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, what do I have here? I can help other people because I just don't have to carry their emotional weight. And how grateful I am for all of the women who've gone before me, that I can do the same thing too. I can just hand it to them and trust that they won't try to carry that for me, that they can just acknowledge that I'm going through something hard and trust in me, and not try, it won't debilitate them. And so it's easier to share my hardships with them too. So while I was thinking about this, I was also considering what I had when I was younger, that, and you know, what younger people have today that really helps as well. Because I'm in this really great place where I'm benefiting from the people who are older. I'm also benefiting from people who are younger. You young moms who are out there, I cannot tell you how exciting it is to see young moms with all of their kids and their enthusiasm and their excitement for motherhood and for life, that they just feel like, I can do this, I can handle things. And you know, I get it, it's hard juggling all the hardships that have to come with young children. I understand diapers and nap times and everything, that part is hard. But there's also an energy that comes from being young, and that energy and that optimism, I just feed off of that. I just love seeing these young mothers and seeing how confident they are that this is going to work out and this is going to be amazing. And I sure love my little kids, and aren't they so precious? And I think, what a gift having these young moms in my life is, and even young women who are not yet moms, who are also super optimistic about the future and are just developing their own talents and everything. That enthusiasm, that it brings so much light and so much excitement to me. And I think I'm not there anymore. I don't know if you guys have read this, but there's a little tiny book called Tuesdays with Morrie, and he's getting older. And he's actually has a disease that's going to end up killing him. But so he's sharing all of his wisdom with this young man. And one of the things that he says, the young man is asking him, he's like, man, don't you feel bad that you're so old? was the gist of the question. And he said, no, I don't want to be young again, because there is a 20-year-old inside of me. There's a 30-year-old inside of me. There's a 40-year-old inside of me, right? I have all of those ages that are still inside of me, and that's a part of who I am. But now I also have this older age that I've never experienced before. I love the 20-year-old that is inside of me, that enthusiasm and that excitement, and the 20-year-olds that are not inside of me, that are actual people, you know, that are actually raising their families, that are actually such an enthusiastic impact on my life. I love what they're bringing to it. And the mothers that are in their 30s, and they're this stabilizing force. I think I'm so grateful that there are moms who are maybe 5 or 10 years younger than me, who are just plugging, who are just saying, okay, I'm down in the trenches, but I'm doing something so important, and I know it's important, and I just keep going at it. That sort of determination and that patience and diligence and, you know, all of these words that sometimes feel heavy, that is so important, because when that just feels like I can be at rest, because I see so many moms knocking it out of the park and just doing day in and day out the work that is raising the next generation of people. So important. And so I feel like I'm at rest too, because I trust that they're doing a great job. And so all of these women in all of these different ages are kind of like pouring energy and enthusiasm and confidence and comfort. All of these things, they're pouring into my life. And I think how super important it is that we have women of all ages. And they're not even talking to me, you know, they're not coming to me and saying, wow, I just really got to tell you about what I did with my little kids or what I did with my teenagers. That's not it. It's just me seeing them doing it. That's powerful. because I know they're there. I know they're taking care of it. I know that they are bringing their A game, and that, I'm not alone. This is something that we're all doing together. So you guys, I don't know how old you are. YouTube tells me that a fair number of you are my age, but there are quite a few of you that are also younger than me. So however old you are, whether you are a teenager or a young mother or a mother with teenagers or a mother whose kids have all moved out, you are really, really impacting the people around you just by living your life, but also by interacting with people in positive ways. It has just really impacted my life, and I'm so grateful for that. And I think how wonderful it is that everybody's lifting each other up and making it a much better place. What you are doing is so, so important, and you're doing a much better job than you think you are. Keep it up. It is obviously helping me. It is clearly helping other people. What you're doing just really matters. Thank you, and I will see you on the next one.